right. Hold on. Camera change. Welcome to What the Heck. Yeah, it's Sundays again, and I keep forgetting, so that's great.
Yeah.
Today we have Forrestine and Isaac. Hey, Woke, how's it going? Let's. I need a new brain. Does anybody else need a new brain? Like, I just would like a fresh one just to see what it's like for a minute.
Pop it out, you know?
Yeah, so let's do super fast intros and like, who are you and what did I write down? If you could, which module do you wish you could borrow for like a week? I can go first. Hex 7, synthesizer person. Stream this show once in a while. And which module would I would really like to, oh man, there's so many good modules out there. And I wish I had thought of the answer to this question that I wrote a week ago.
You wrote the question.
like a week ago too.
You didn't write it with something in mind. Like you weren't like, oh yeah.
All right, let's go with since I've got a couple of Zoom modules now. I think the narwhals, like at the top of my I wish I could borrow list. I haven't heard enough demos to like convince me that it's like a permanent rack feature, but it feels like a cool hat and it excellent design. So
cool hat.
I can go next, I guess.
Okay,
sure.
good.
Hi, I'm Isaac. Also a synthesizer person, currently eating Honey Nut Cheerios out of a mug. And if I could borrow a module for a week, I've really been looking at the Mutable Instruments Elements. I really want to build one.
That's a good one, yeah.
But I'm not sure if I would really like it. Like, it seems like the kind of thing that would be right up my alley, considering the music, like the type of like ambient I make. But also, like, I don't know if I would want to commit to the whole thing because it's fucking massive and I don't like the little ones. Also, I can't really build one right now because the audio codec logic thing you need is completely out of stock everywhere, and also all the op amps, so it's kind of a moot point.
Op amp.
Yeah. That's a good one though. There's a lot of mutables I'd love to borrow. Like they're really cool modules. Actually, there's several I'd like to own too. And Robbie, I think, is joking because Robbie said
Tapping
they want
my
to borrow
coffee.
clouds and a MIDI interface module, which, even though it's a joke, I bet Robbie would have fun.
He already has clouds, or did he sell it?
I don't know.
I don't know, maybe some filter, because like, often you just want to hear what it sounds like, and something like a wasp sounds like it gets old. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can do like one set with it and then give it back.
I always hear people talking about the Wasp, and I'm never like exactly sure what it sounds like because I don't think I've ever sat down and listened to a Wasp demo.
Hold on. This is awkward.
Probably should.
Attach this thing.
I like the yellow
So
and black
yeah,
one.
I traded a one of the locals here offered to trade a couple of modules with me, and they were modules I wasn't using or stoked about. So I was happy to. And one of those modules they traded me was a Wasp, which I stupidly assumed it was going to be in black, but it's in silver, which is not really a problem. I can swap panels and stuff like that pretty trivially, but it's not in my case because I just don't. I don't like the sound of it. It's the short answer. Like I've got, like it does fall sort of in the gnarly, like sort of funky filter realm, but it's not as gnarly as the other filters. Like so, when I want to go gnarly, I'm not going to reach for this. When I want to go smooth, I'm also not going to reach for this. It actually, weirdly, the Crow does both of that perfectly. So, I'm. It's a really cool filter. So this might end up at Forrestine's house soon. Just because like I can actually lend it to somebody. I'm not
Yeah,
using
there you
it,
go.
So,
I need to get more into lending modules out or trading modules for a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited about, like, I haven't really looked to do much trading, but this person came with like a kind of cool trade. I think I had the after later audio peaks version of mutable and the free 2 HP freeze. And it turns out I didn't like the peaks for VCA reason, or not VCA, envelope reasons that I've talked about previously. And the freeze was cool, but it was kind of redundant next to the data bender. So I pulled that as well. And this person offered the WASP and the vortex generator, which is one I'd never heard of. And it's just essentially a couple of function generators, which are kind of fun. So like, it's always handy to have a couple of those around. So. And it has purple lights, which is cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much I like purple lights, but probably going to invest in a lot of purple LEDs soon.
Purple is good. I mean, Mystic Circuits makes purple panels with rainbow lights. And
that's cool.
I've been looking at, they have 2 modules. One's called Tree and one's called Leaves, I think, or Trees and Leaves. And they are Turing machine expanders. They're third-party Turing machine expanders, so you can plug them into a Turing machine, and they will do extra stuff. And having just acquired my Turing machine, I'm kind of going crazy over it, and I sort of want to just buy. And Mylar Melodies, of course, just did a Turing machine video, and so now I just want to buy every single Turing machine expander.
I kind of want to loop back to Turing in just a second.
He really likes them. I'm really liking mine.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I don't know if there's a better way to like quickly generate something and then lock it in. Like, it's pretty instant.
I like step modulation a lot.
Yeah. Robbie, Egon, I would agree with you. The WASP is not weird enough and not normal enough. It's like kind of in between. Yeah. It's a great filter. Like, I'm just not going to use it, so that's why I'm going to let it.
The freeze also you mentioned is also, I have one of those as well. Yeah, and I almost never use it, but whenever I do use it, I'm like, dang, this thing's really nice.
It is cool. I found it hard to sequence.
Yeah, no, it's really, because you can't clock sync the beat repeat thing of it.
I didn't care about that. I don't care about clock sync at all, actually. It was more about the, like, when it was freezing and when it wasn't. And I did eventually figure it out, and it is, like, when you get it, it is super cool. And I got it because you recommended it, and it was a great recommendation. But ultimately, I ended up doing the same thing I was, like, doing with the data bender with it. So, like, I just... when I reorganize, like, maybe on, like, V3 of this, it might come back or something when I've got more MIDI to trigger stuff. But right now, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like, it's just one of those things where the main thing, I actually don't use the freezy part of it. Mostly I use the bitrate reduction, and you can do that with any sample and hold. Yeah. And so I'm thinking about either replacing it with a small sample and hold, or just using stuff I have and replacing it with something else that I would want. I've been looking at the 2HP Sine Rocket Mermaid on Discord. Got one a while ago. And every time she mentions it, she's like, I know you really want a Sine, Isaac. I'm like, I really want the Sine, because it's such a cool oscillator. It only makes sine waves. It has a built-in wave folder, and then it has like a sub blend that blends between something down a fifth and then down an octave, which is like really nice in 2 HP for like a digital sine oscillator. And it's like, I want it so bad. Is
the sub also a sine wave?
It's also a sine wave, yes. It's all sine waves.
It's a dumb question, but usually subs are like squared, but that's why I was asking.
No. Well, because I believe it's all digital, so it's like really clean sine waves too.
Nice.
That makes sense.
And it's, yeah. I just want one. If anyone's selling a sine and wants to trade for a freeze, they're about the same size, and I think they're the same MSRP. So hit me up.
Here's a question that just reminded me. I guess the sine wave is a module that the sine is probably a module that not a ton of people go for. I don't know why. I mean, I think sine waves are great. And actually now it has me thinking like how many. Remember that Moffin Zeef Molt video?
The buffer,
like
yes.
Yeah, I know in theory like you can make any other wave with a bunch of sine waves combined. How many like 2 HP sines would you need to make like a square wave or something? Like,
Oh, that gets into like, I mean, well, because that's what like the DX7 is or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's just sine waves modulating sine waves. So if you're doing FM,
Yeah.
then like, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if it's FM or what. I just remember seeing some video at some
Fourier
point talking about
transforms.
like every wave is just a bunch of sine waves or something. I don't know.
It's called a
That's true or
Fourier
not, but-
transform. When you see those
Yeah.
if you've ever seen an FFT readout where it's like got the little peaks and it's showing the
Yeah.
strength of the harmonics. There's a Wendy Carlos video actually where she explains it and makes like a marimba sound.
That's
Just
cool.
by adding signs together. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I just like little plinky plonky sounds. You know?
Yeah, they're great. Like, especially with delays or reverb, you can't.
Yes.
It's great, and that's perfect. Where you like, if you've got some plinky plonky sounds, a little bit of reverb, and a morphogene, like
Now you're talking, yeah.
it's like instant.
That's
whole
one I'd like
track,
to
just
borrow
listen
for a
to that.
week. The
Morphogene.
the morphogene
Yeah,
or any
yeah.
granular thing. I don't have any granular processing, but morphogene looks cool and also kind of bewildering to me.
It's very
It's
bewildering.
it's exactly it's both of those things. Yeah,
That's their general MO, isn't it?
can confirm. Like I built like Cosmo, and then somebody was like, "Here's a Eurorack adapter for it," and I put that together, and I was like, "Cool, I can buy 64 HP of Eurorack. First thing I'm gonna get is a morphogene.
Morphogene.
It's gonna
Oh,
make my
no.
music good."
It's weird, yeah.
It's also
like
one of the
that it
first
can-
modules I sold.
Yeah.
I like that you can record into it because I don't have any samplers that you can actually direct record into. That's kind of an uncommon feature. I know the 4MS has the stereo triggered sampler, can also like record into it,
Yeah.
which
I-
is cool. But most things are like off an SD card and you prepare it beforehand.
Yeah, and I wanted to be more intentional with it. Like, I honestly wish the panel was like, I know it's already wide, but I wish it was just a little bit wider so that some of the functions, like play and record and those hidden functions, I didn't have to remember. Like, I started writing an app for shortcuts because of Morphogene, so I could look at it on my phone with quick reference, because it's like kind of
That's
deep
too
in
much.
terms of button combos and stuff. Yeah, so that part I didn't like. As far as the actual controls that modify the sound while you're working, absolutely good.
Forsty, is everything all right?
I have a beanbag chair that doesn't fit in this room, and I had thrown it onto the bed before we started. And the cat tried to get up onto it, and then it fell off the bed, and she was holding onto it, and then ran away after it fell on her. But it's like, it weighs nothing. She's fine.
Oh my god.
It just happened in slow motion.
Flattened.
Gonna have to report that avalanche.
Smushed. Oh, I have an interesting question.
Shoot.
So, it loops back to Turing machines. I've gotten this Turing machine, and I do not have a quantizer for it yet. My quantizer is sitting unbuilt. So I've been making a little bit of music with unquantized melodies, like just kind of random sort of notes and all that. Repeating, but random. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on like using unquantized melodies in your music? Like not going to any kind of scale, just like
I'm for it.
yeah. I think it sounds nice. I think it sounds cool. But
The Turing machine, especially unquantized, has like you get a lot of like very, very, very close values, which are like sometimes can be not what you want. I found that I really had to play with the range to get it to be.
that range attenuator is a great feature. Like
Yeah.
it's
That's cool.
I think it works the best if you've got some stuff that is in a melody and then you kind of have something that doesn't really fit.
what I found it's good for is kind of like if you have you have a beat or like a kick or something, and it's kind of doing a shorter pattern. It's like do where it's like kind of almost quantized but not really.
Yeah. Really,
And-
really short patterns seem to be
Yeah,
better.
in like a techno context, especially, it's like if you're doing kind of techno-y things, then you can get away with it. But if you want to be more ambient, then I think you need like nice notes. At least if it's going to be really slow and sustained.
Well, I mean, I think it is really nice. So like I really enjoy making unquantized tracks. The only downside I find is repeatability. Like I'm not like, this is a modular thing, you can never repeat the same thing twice, but like this is like another level beyond that. Like you're not going to be able to make that melody again, like because everything is like precisely pitch tuned. And I have done a bunch of it, like some of my synths and things, just sort of like some of the voices just are not 1 volt per octave, so that's when you get to have fun. Like, I mean, it's easier to do like a techno track. Like the fart box is sick for acid techno because it's not 1 volt per octave. Like,
yeah,
I've
totally.
heard one person get it 1 volt, but it like took a lot of tuning and stuff.
Or like
I
linear
gave up
FM.
after an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Linear FM instead of exponential.
yeah, and then another thing I really like unquantized stuff for is like your candier accents, like the Lucifer.
Pony sound.
Well, not even necessarily good sounds, but like the Lucifer is one I use pretty regularly. That's definitely not quantized, and I mostly use it almost like in a Morse code context, like a percussive thing.
Percussion it works really well with if you have like, or like I've been doing a lot of in my little case. I'll post a picture of this little case in the Discord because it's like I packed as much stuff as I possibly could into it. I had to get more. It's got like 4 bus boards inside, like 120 HP. It's absolutely chock full. But I have the QPOS in there, making like bell noises, and the bell noises unquantized sound very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Bells are
really
always-
like doing that with like metallic sounds.
Yeah, because they're already kind of out of tune. If you've got a couple things,
Yeah.
it's already a little dissonant, and so
With the resonance, yeah.
go the extra mile.
I got a DFAM and a subharmonicon the other day, and they've been next to my computer like permanently because I can just like set the subharmonicon to make me some music and then I can work. Like, it's quick. But one of the things about it, it's got a few different tuning modes. You can have equal temperament, 12 and 8 note, and what is it? Starts with the J.
Just intonation?
Just intonation in both 12 and 8, or just completely unquantized. And one of the things I've been trying is unquantized, but the thing about unquantized is there's a lot of setup time, or there can be a lot of setup time if you're looking at like a melody or something that's less percussive. So like in this case, I've got two different oscillators going potentially at different rates, like changing notes at different rates. And so that means like all the notes sort of need to play nicely together. Really fairly trivial with equal temperament or even just intonation. When it's unquantized, like it took me a while to sort of dial in things, but once you get it dialed in, it does sound really, really nice.
Yeah.
Because you'll get some unintentional dissonance here and there, just a little bit, where equal temperament would have like fixed that for you. And then the next like chord is going to be like ultra just perfect. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
But it does, I think that's the downside. The thing I don't like about making melodies with unquantized, it just takes a lot of time to dial in. It sort of depends, right? On what you need.
I've been messing. I built 2 days ago. I built the Volt. Oh, is that a? Sorry. There's like a bug in my room. I built the Turing machine, the Volt expander, which is kind of like a more conventional sequencer. I kind of don't understand exactly how it works, but it is mostly just like a 5-step sequencer tacked onto the Turing machine. So like if I want to, I can kind of precisely tune those in, but I tend to not really have fun doing that. I just kind of like shooting all the knobs to whatever and then just letting it go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like a state of mind thing. Like if I want to do something, like, or if I have got time to kill, I just want to relax and spend a day making a track, like yeah, unquantize is definitely on the table. But if I'm in a hurry, quantize. I did build a dual quantizer, and it is the hardest module I have ever put together. And the thing I don't like about that, it'll be in the case eventually, but the thing I don't like about that is the one I built, for whatever reason, there's no like, the bypass doesn't seem to work, right? Like if I don't want it to quantize, it's still like quantized. But it is cool, very DIY Cosmo format thing.
I was looking at DIY quantizers for the longest time, kind of shocked with choice, trying to find like the most cost-effective way to get a lot of quantization, and then I just eventually arrived at like you can't do better than the ornament and crime, and so I just bought one, and I'm very excited because I got to mess with one the other day as well, and I was just kind of shocked by how many things it does. It's kind of
that
insane.
One was that one in original or hemisphere or something?
I think it was in hemispheres, and
that one has
like,
more things, but the things are shallower.
Yeah, it's just it's there's so many things. Just the fact that you can have like it's 4 lanes of quantization and all the little menus. The menus seem frustrating. Those are going to take a while because it's my first module that has a screen.
Hemisphere has fewer menus and has quantizers. They're just not as fancy. But you could still also have 4 lanes, so you could try both.
Yeah,
I find them quite different to use.
As far as quantizers go, I do have my eye, like I've started looking into quantizers a bit. Probably not in the near future, but ornament and crime is good. Ideally, what I'm looking for is like something that has like a single octave of buttons that I can turn on and off notes to sort of make my own scales.
Penrose, yeah.
And I want it to also limit to octaves, right? Is that the same one? Like I would like to say it like I want this to be a 2-octave range versus like everything.
Oh, maybe.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I think you would have to attenuate it first.
I don't want to do that. I just want to like
the Penrose has the buttons, so we're halfway there.
I've been looking at, if you want a fancier one that has a line of buttons, is the Shachmat Bard Quartet is a quad quantizer that has all the buttons, and I think it can do that. It's got more like advanced features built into it. Yeah. It's very fancy. It's not a cheap, even as a kid, it's not cheap. But it does a lot of stuff. It also has a knob labeled harmony that like changes the interrelations between the 4 patterns going. Whatever.
That's cool.
It seems really cool. It seems really cool. I've definitely been eyeing it because it's also just kind of a pretty module with all the lights and stuff. But I don't have $400 to spend on a quantizer right now.
Yeah, it's not like something I would want to use probably all the time. So I mean, and I would also need accompanying modules that are good with it. So like probably a Turing machine would appeal to me because it is random but repeats the random.
So
versus just full chaos.
The original Ornament and Crime has Quantremain, which is like can be its own Turing machine and quantizer. 4 of them.
Yeah.
I'm just not into the Ornament and Crime. I mean, I think it's really cool. Fair. I wouldn't use it that often.
It's just
I wish it had a really big screen. I wish I could get a version with just like a massive screen, you know.
I just did the opposite. I just built a really big module with a really small screen.
Oh my god, is that that's the taco or what is it, the Emmy?
The Emmy, yeah. It's the Emmy. Look, I even cut like a little rectangle hole for the SD card reader and USB port, little files. That's what I did all yesterday. And it's not working perfectly yet, but it does work. I have gotten words out of it.
Nice.
There's a short somewhere.
Can you change the words that it speaks out?
I can. So the thing that appealed to me the most is the USB port. You can connect a keyboard to,
and you can
make
just
it
type
so
stuff out.
Right, and there's different modes. So like on one mode, if I hit any letter, it'll just say that letter the second I hit it. So it's almost like a trigger. Another mode, I can type in a word and hit enter, and it'll read that word. Other modes, I can type in a word and it'll like stutter through the letters rather than saying the word. Like there's all sorts of cool stuff, but it's all, I don't have to like pre-program anything. It can be very on the fly.
That's super cool.
So really looking forward to getting that working well.
Vocal modules
Quite
are really
there yet.
interesting. I don't have any format kind of vowel things, but I've been looking at this. I had the weird idea. This came up the other day. I was talking to Christian on Discord about it, and I had mentioned a Vocaloid module. I think would be really interesting. Because you all the speech stuff you see in your rack is all like kind of like speak and spell soundy.
Yeah.
But like different vocal kind of algorithms might be fun.
That would be cool.
Right, so that's part of what appealed on this thing when I did more research. So on the back of the plate, there are two strips here where you can put essentially an expander with different voices. So initially when this came out, there was like one that speaks Japanese. But since then, it looks like on the site there's a handful. So one that sounds extra robot-y, one that sounds like with a French accent. Like there's a range of little things they've made.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
I gotta look at that.
I think they're mostly sold out, but I'm gonna try to reach out and be like, "You have any B stock?"
Yeah, I know the Polaxis guy is on the Winterbloom Discord.
Oh,
He's on
interesting.
Discord.
I'll have to
Yeah.
share this because maybe they'll help me with my ground
Yeah.
issue. I won't ask them to help me because I can probably re-debug it, but they might have seen it before.
It might be
They're-
obvious. It'd be cool to
They're
know.
on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really cool. So, yeah.
Vocal stuff's interesting. It's always I like kind of
always
wordless vocals is fun too.
I like the really early vocal stuff, like the early speech synthesis. It's so creepy.
Yeah, the HAL 9000.
Yes. Yeah, that kind of vibe. And this has some of those vibes. Like there's some really weird stuff happening with it. Like when I first got it working, I didn't have the settings. Like it's sort of like when you get a brand new mono synth and from like used or something, right? Like, and it's like manual. Like when you push a key, nothing might happen, or it might just like whistle at you or something, right? Like every key whistles the same. It was in that kind of mode where like everything sounded awful, and then I started twisting things, and I got it back into like the realm of human speech. So it's like, okay, cool, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also bummed. I worked on 3 modules yesterday, expecting all 3 to be working perfectly by the end of the day.
And no
Zero.
such luck.
Yeah.
0 for 3.
Oh.
The first one was the tube amp, and it started getting hot again, so I'm going to take another close look at that. But with the new tube, it shouldn't have done that. Next thing was the MS-22 filter. The low pass knob itself isn't working, so I don't know what to do about that. Like I went through and soldered all the cold joints and stuff like that, and it's still no change. So I think I have to send that back to their person. They'll have to send it back to whoever to get fixed. Like I don't know. That one's like pretty intense for me to want to fix, considering it's not my module. I tried. And then this one, something about the gate is shorting, so I don't know. Have to figure that out.
I was doing some troubleshooting with Marty on the Discord, who I met up with. And we were trying to figure out this VCO, this 555 Thomas Henry VCO. And it took us like 3 or 4 hours of work before we realized that the header on printed on the silk screen was printed the wrong way, and we had to reverse it, and we had to like pull out the Eagle file and trace it around.
Oh
and
my
shit.
gosh!
Just because whoever made the PCBs, they even had pictures of them. They had built it and they had put the header on wrong, and it was working for some reason, and we just reversed the header. Contrary to what the
And
silk
it was
screen
working
said.
for some reason. That's baffling.
And then and the thing is, 'cause they didn't put reverse diodes on it, right? So there were no protection diodes. So it's not like it stopped. It like fried, I think, in a couple chips that were lying around. And so we did though get it working, which was nice. But like
That's an understandable problem to have. Like you did everything right.
but it's just like it's one of those mistakes that's like really like in theory it's like simple to find, but in practice it takes you forever because you're assuming that like whoever made the PCB did that correctly.
Yeah, maybe I should read through that like tube amp forum thread just to see what other people have run into. Maybe somebody else has fixed my issue for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was yesterday's thing. Like, and it was funny. Like, of all the stuff I did, like soldering and all that, like filing a panel or making the panel took the longest. It was like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my god.
That's why, like, I feel justified in not porting maths to Cosmo because that would have taken just ages.
Oh yeah, you would have to desolder all of those pots.
Yeah, I'm pretty fast at that, but like drilling all the holes and measuring everything out, and more importantly, the wiring, right? Like every potentiometer has 3 wires. Like, it's like 50 holes or something in mass.
Jeez,
Anyway, Look Mom did come out with like this crazy, I wouldn't quite call it mass, but it's like for but all like 4 of them, and it's like this wide. It's huge.
Oh my god. Jesus, like
it's the size of the Mega Drone, and it's awesome. But like, I was like, I'm good. I have a few.
Are they envelopes like ADSRs, or are they like function generators?
They're the envelopes that I like, but they also have voltage control over every step in time. So 4 of those is pretty boss. Like, sorry, mouse, you don't have anything on these. They're the electric druid envelopes.
Those, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the appeal of maths for me over other envelope generators is the whole like fact that you can do more with function generators than just like making an envelope, you know, because you can use it for like portamento and all that stuff. And so that's the appeal of maths. But like otherwise, if I don't need that, then like you're probably better off with a more fully featured envelope.
I mean,
different ways to do...
again, I don't think that's really a comparison with mass. Like, you could make a Cosmo mass with that and like some slews and call it a day, but like some adders, or attenuverters, offset attenuverters, which all exist in Cosmo format. So like the day of making your own mass in Cosmo is here.
I was trying to think about it.
It's just going to be this wide.
Yeah.
Just as a thought experiment, I was thinking, like, what if you tried to make, like, a mini maths, like a micro maths, the way that they do all the mutable instruments modules? And I was just looking at it, and it's the kind of thing that makes, like, absolutely no sense to try and do, because maths is already really dense for what it does. Like, it really is 20 HP of functionality. I've been looking at the Create Audio, the function junction seems like a kind of almost maths alternative.
Yeah, but it's so ugly.
It is.
It's so
like
ugly.
Schoolhouse. It's like a Schoolhouse Rock thing they've got.
It cuts off its own lettering.
It does cut off its own. It's very polarizing.
I think we can agree that Forrestine does not like Create Audio's taste in panels.
Forrestine, I meant to send this to you. I found this earlier on Reddit. Someone had made an alternate panel of the East Beast.
I saw that this morning.
Yes.
I was saying, I think they should have picked the same colors as the East Beast and just made it look like that. Because now it's like the wrong colors. It's like
looks like
especially with the West Pest out. Like, you got to have the blue and green, and then the
it looks like a weird mutable ALM thing.
Yeah. The West Pest. Yeah, let's talk about the West Pest.
It seems cool. It's not as horribly ugly. I don't mind it. No complaints.
It's not as. I like how it's weird how they're kind of going for like, I guess, like a comic book, like noir aesthetic for it. I think. I I don't know.
Oh yeah, it is like both of them have similar like old sort of naive illustration comic aesthetics. Like
Yeah.
the East Beast does have that like little beast that has a similar aesthetic, and the West Past also has the like sort of supervillain or whatever superhero that's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
detective or something. And I think they're really cool. Like the West Past, like listening to the sounds, like it's a bunch of things that like Pittsburgh and create like things they've had in other larger modules and stuff that they just condensed into one little module that is all of those things that I would like to try. Like that's one I would like to try for a week.
They.
I don't actually care about the sequencer or anything like that. I just want
Oh
to play
yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
actual you know features,
No, you're not eating.
Because
the
I was gonna
modules of the
say
module.
they seem like a really good like intro to modular, semi-modular. Like I was thinking about it, and especially for the price. Like I don't think you can get anything more fully featured for that price that sounds like that good. You know, because like
I thought they both sounded really nice.
they both sound really nice. They're basically, I mean, the East Beast at least is kind of like a really small Mother 32, like
Yeah.
a smaller Mother 32, and it's like half the price of a Mother 32, and it's got the little step sequencer, it's got buttons and keys. You don't need anything else beforehand to play with it.
Yeah,
Um, so it seems like that's kind of really that's what they're going for. I'd be surprised if they didn't change out like the Nifty bundle and make like a Nifty bundle that comes with like a Nifty case and an East Beast or something, because it seems kind of like it'd be a good pair. I don't know. Um, well, I guess it comes
Yeah.
in its own box, doesn't it?
The problem
Yeah.
is, yeah, like it comes in its own box, but they should make a new Nifty bundle with like their newer modules, because like
Yeah, like the Big O and
the
the
filter, yeah, that would be nice.
function. Oh yeah, the filter. The filter seems fun.
Yeah.
I want
The
to talk
mixer
about a
filter.
couple of things. One of these modules don't. I mean, yeah, they're good for like new folks getting into it. Like you have an instant voice in a very compact space. For folks that already have like full racks, like that's a lot of space to have to swap out. But like if you're like that's a whole
Yeah, if
voice.
you don't have
like,
anything, that's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
yeah, like in two of those, now you have two voices, and what is it like? I don't know how wide they are, but like 50 HP or something, 60, something like
Yeah.
that. Total,
Yeah.
like it's hard to top that. So I think there's a lot of utility to them. As for the art style, like the
That's
creator of the
subjective.
module gets to do whatever they want with their module, and I'm not
That's
going to
true.
criticize them for that. Like
Someone will make
it isn't
Magpie.
that hard to make. Yeah,
Magpie will
Right.
make a cool panel for it, and you can just get the Magpie panel and swap out the knobs or whatever. I actually like
Fine,
the.
I already have a math. This
And-
doesn't affect
and-
me in any way.
I'm sure
like
someone will
Richard-
make, or Grayscale will make a panel for it or something. Which normally I
Yeah.
don't really like the Grayscale panels
No.
yeah.
because they're a little soulless. I feel.
I would
feel
prefer
like,
someone make an attempt at making something look interesting, and so I totally respect that. But I spent a long time looking at the East Beast, and then my art school feelings were hurt.
Well, like that's what I like about Magpie, because you've seen like their nonlinear circuits panels. They do like colors, so they've got ones where it'll be like blue,
love those.
green, like purple things going on, or
I mean,
lots of
it's like
oranges and
make
reds.
something ugly, yes, fine, but also make it so you can like read the labels on it and you can tell what you're doing.
Yeah,
That's all I
yeah,
ask
yeah.
for.
I'd like to see Magpie. My ornament in crime is a Magpie panel, and it looks very nice. Though I saw they made a white. I really like white PCB panels, but they didn't have the white panel in stock, and I'm gonna see if I can maybe get one. Because I like interesting, colorful panels. Maybe I'll try making my own. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. But first, hey, Richard Nichols, if you ever watch this, like, good job. Like,
Good job.
those are
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, everything.
sorry you get so
like
much
to
flack for
blame.
that, right? But like, I'm sure their email is like annoying right now, but
Oh, probably.
but as far as panel designs go, like, I think there is a desire for like for me like there's the folks that want the really boring stuff, but I would like to see like I did a mock-up the other day where I just grabbed, like, I went through, I think I was really bored. I went through like every single module on Modular Grid and picked out the most colorful ones. Like, that's about as rainbow as a modular can get if you're buying off the shelf Eurorack modules.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of those are even like unofficial, like DIY stuff. But like, if you're gonna make a template and PCBs, like, yeah, make a black one, make a white one, and then like
Go crazy.
pick a color that you like, right? Like, what does that look like in pink, blue, green, yellow? Like, have some flavor on some of them. And granted, there's a limited amount of what you can do cost effectively with PCBs, but like, there's a lot more folks can do than what is being done.
I mean, PCBs come in so many colors. I mean, I make all my modules are with blue panels. And I've been thinking about actually making blue alternate panels for some other modules I already have. Just because I really like how the blue panels look. And it's
Yeah, and
blue and
nothing
white.
is blue.
Yeah, exactly. No one makes blue modules for whatever reason. And it's like, I like blue modules. So maybe I'll start, if anyone wants blue panels, maybe I'll start like making alt blue panels for popular modules.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different colors they come in. They're usually a little more muted on the color scale. The exception is maybe red, but some of like the pink is like a little bit more of a muted
Pink
pink.
looks really good.
It's good, but like it's not like a bright pink. Yeah.
Yeah, like the pink, yellow. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was not. It wasn't Mofensief. It was the other one. They make those.
Yeah.
They make that. Oh, shit! No. I'm trying to think. It's like they make the slopes. The slopes module. They have like a weird little oscillator. It was this envelope generator called the slopes, and it had this beautiful yellow PCB panel with like red LEDs and like these black faders, and it was just like the most beautiful module I've ever seen in my life in like yellow, looking like nothing else, and I really want one. Fuck, I'm gonna find. I'll find the. Hold on, I'll find the company. Just keep going. But yes,
I will say probably because of like acid inspiration, yellow was the color. Other than I think maybe yellow and blue were the most popular colors I could find on Modular Grid, and even then there was like a handful of each. Without the Dreadbox modules, it would be really boring.
Noise Reap. They make this slopes.
That's cute.
Which is just beautiful. I mean, it's got a very like 70s design aesthetic to it. But something about
yeah. I saw that. Yeah. That's
integrated
cool.
VCA, all the nice broken out controls. It's just like, I want one. They are not making. They're never gonna make them again, of course. So I need to find one used. But
Benjamin's got a good point. Holographic panels could be really cool. Like, those holographic stickers that are fairly popular. They're like not really holograms, but they're like the silver, sort of silver with rainbow
kinda
reflection.
Chrome, the chrome looking thing. Yeah.
Like, imagine like a whole wall of that could be kind of like overwhelming and cool. I don't know.
It would look really cool with like the different LEDs reflecting off of it.
I was thinking like a disco ball in the room, like laser, one of those laser things. Like, it'd be cool.
I can't look at my synthesizer, it hurts.
I'm kind of like.
I have to wear sunglasses.
Another one is the Bismuth. This is like a manual CV controller, and it's just like.
Oh, that's really cool.
Total rainbow.
Yeah.
I think this is
more
a
like
module that actually. It's not automated. It's just like you use them as kind of like macro knobs that do like a bunch of crazy shit when you turn them. Like as a performance thing, but it's called bismuth, and it's named after like the metal bismuth. Which, if you've seen bismuth crystals, they grow in these crazy squares, and they have like a really weird rainbow sheen to them. So
I think I have one on my module up here, but anyway, Cosmo modules have cool art.
You know how they do those panels? They're enamel pins. It's like the way they do enamel pins.
They made a giant enamel pin panel.
For the panel, yes.
That is so cool. That's such a good... I bet it's expensive, but that's cool.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no. At least I think that's what they did.
Wow.
That's exactly what it looks like.
You know what you could do if you had just like aluminum panels that you were doing yourself? You could marbleize them.
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
That's very
Or like,
Schmooster. I think Schmooster would
Yeah.
love that. Or like Jackson Pollock. Like one of the things I thought about doing one day when I was really late was taking
like-
all of my Cosmo modules apart. Like so I have all the panels just laid out on the floor in the order that they're in, and just Jackson Pollock the crap out of them with brightly colored
Yeah.
paint. Like you know like splash it around all over and then put them back.
I've always-
That could look pretty cool too.
I've always wanted a line of modules that lines up kind of like the backs of bookcase spine, like book spines, where it makes a big picture. So if you get the whole range, it's like a mountain range or like something, or like some beautiful fantasy landscape.
Right.
Of course, if any company designed that, they would have it in some order that's terrible, and then you have to.
I was just about to
Here's
say.
your filter, and then oscillator, and then envelope, and then
Dreadbox.
other oscillator. Yeah.
Like Dreadbox, if you've got all of their modules, right, all of the colorful ones, and put them in rainbow order,
In Roy Biv, very important.
yeah.
it's
It
not
looks
going to
like
be
an
very
awful-
playable.
Oh, God.
But it would look really nice, and that's one of those things where I'd be like, whatever, I'm sacrificing playability because this looks awesome. Like
Yeah.
that's fine. I wanted to back up the macro
Playability for Pride
module.
Month.
Macro modules are cool. I ordered one a while ago on the recommendation of Benjamin. The ADAC, what is it, 306 or something, transition one. It's essentially 5 fixed voltages with the slider on the bottom that changes all the voltages at once, and you can sort of set the range of each. So it's kind of like a macro thing. And the only reason I can't use it right now is I literally don't have enough cables. Like,
Oh no!
I have enough cables for my drums and like one synth voice, but
Oh, no,
they're
it's
being
tragic.
made right now. So
Dire
yeah.
situation.
yeah.
I just left like half my cables in storage when I packed away most of the modular. I left all the really long ones because I'm trying to sort of travel light since I'm going to have to. I'm gonna have to take this case not only to Texas and back, but also through because we're going on holiday. So I'll have to take it like through France. I'll have to carry it and all its cables and shit. And so
These are the shortest
wow.
cables I have right now,
Oh no!
oh my god,
which is great. Like the reason I had these made was because like when I'm going from Cosmo to Eurorack, sometimes like if I want to go like this, like that's a long reach. So. They're useful, but so I'm not going to chop them up. But they're not exactly the best when I'm trying to go like 8 centimeters.
I like really small cables. I want to buy a whole bunch of really tiny little cables.
I really like the really small ones. I have mostly really small ones and like 12-inch ones for most things.
Yeah, I think I've got
That's
I've got
what I
these
need
little
is a ton of small.
the little cables are nice. I was thinking about getting some tendrils cables, but I'm not
Are
sure.
the tendrils
how I-
all right angles? I can't
Yes,
remember.
they're
Or
all
were they-
right angles. Yeah, or they make non-right angle
I
ones,
think they
but
make a non-right angle. I found the
Yeah,
right
I would
angles
have
kept
to-
getting in the way of other jacks, depending on how densely you're patching.
Yeah, I don't.
Some people really
I
like that.
yeah, I like the straight ones a little better than the right angles. The right angles, like there's some utility here and there, but for the way I'm set up, they get in the way more often than not. But I'm using them because that's what I've got, and they are really nice cables. Benjamin sent me some, and they're beautiful. I like the colors. I'll probably get the same colors, but in straight jacks at some point.
I want some braided cables at some point. I'm gonna hit up Bartok as soon as I
hit up
as soon as I
Bartok.
can.
Yeah,
And
Yep.
let's choose rainbow. It's very good.
order more. Yes, he's got rainbow. The problem with ordering from Bartok is his cables are absolutely beautiful, but they look completely different from any other cable I have. So I would feel weird, like they would be like the.
Oh,
I don't know.
I enjoy having a mix.
I
Have,
disagree.
like, different textures, which is nice.
They
That
look
is
just
nice.
like all the other cables I have.
There are many others so perfect.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes. Oh my god. Maybe I'll ask him for. Are those the ones that aren't like braided on the outside? They're just like rubber, kind of.
The 1/4-inch ones I have.
No, the 1/8 inch, the Bartok cables.
No, these are braided.
They
I
are
don't know if you'll be
braided.
able to see
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Because I was looking at his non-braided ones, kind of appeal to me actually.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I was questioning the braided aesthetic because I really actually like how chonky and rubbery things look. The colors are a little more vibrant on the rubber stuff, but I'm very happy with the braided cables. They're really nice. So
Yeah. What does he call them again? They're like NSFW cables or something.
Yeah.
not safe for work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no cables. I need more small cables, and I probably don't need more stack cables. But my current stack cables are actually starting to die. Like
I
they're
saw that
starting to
photo. That was
fray. Yeah,
wild. I need
that's
to get
I
more
want.
small stack cables. I think.
that's after having them for I think we got them in like what 2017. So that's 5 years of use on the tip top stack cables, and they are now starting to fray.
That's pretty good.
On a couple of them. It's all right. I mean, considering how expensive they are,
I mean, it
I'm
depends
gonna
on how much you're using them. And
yeah, I'm gonna maybe look into alternate stack cables, because other people make stack cables as well.
Yeah,
I
I've been
might-
keeping an eye on stack cables, and I will have to get some eventually because I think they are useful. I just don't like the way they look, or I don't like the design. Like I don't like the ones where the stack goes at an angle. I like it when it's like parallel, things like that. But yeah,
The tip top ones are. I mean,
or
again,
they're
it's
like
only
a different color per length with that, which I also don't like.
You don't like? I see the different color per length actually is really helpful for me, because
yeah.
I have those modular attic skinny cables, which I would say are okay, but don't buy them because they fail all the time. But I have them in green. I have green ones that are like 15 centimeters or whatever, and then I have green ones that are like 150 centimeters. And it's when they're all kind of in the cable ball, like sitting on my couch, or I'm trying to sift through. I will sometimes pull out a really small one when I'm expecting a big one or whatever because they're the same color. So
Yeah.
I find them being different colors for different lengths is really helpful for me, because it's like if I'm like, oh, I need this one, like I know all my pink cables are one size or like whatever. All
I
my
think
Yeah,
I
yellow
could
I
do
mean,
cables are
that,
about the same
but
size.
Go
I
ahead.
wish that I got to pick what color they were, because the color they picked for that length is not the color I picked for that length.
It's like
so.
yeah, right, like
Most of my cables are like
brown,
spaghetti
like
yellow.
olive brown or something is like the
Yeah.
length you need the most or something like that. I don't. I understand that problem. If I've got all the cables lying on a mass on the floor, it's hard to tell the difference,
Yeah.
right? That's very rarely the case. They're usually in my friend the towel rack, which means you can very easily just at a glance tell what the length is. So it's not
Towel
really-
rack, excellent idea.
Yeah,
That,
they can mount
yes,
to
that
anything.
requires more organization than I am capable of.
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen eventually, but like I understand like there's, and I'm not trying to convince people to go one way or the other. That's just why it's not a problem for me. I will say that towel racks are less useful here for Euro rack cables, particularly the really small ones, which I can't even show you because I'm out. But I'm not gonna. Anyway, the smaller cables don't rest on it nicely because there's not enough weight to them.
So they just fall
But
off.
anything longer than like this is fine. So
Yeah.
yeah. But also I like a bunch of yellow cables. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You got an
Yeah, that
aesthetic.
was nice.
Yeah.
Another topic. Okay. So I'm bringing a modular case on a plane. But as opposed to last time, what I did was last time I checked it. It was in a suitcase, in a case, padded up.
Yeah.
This time I'm carrying it on,
Yeah.
and so I will have to run it through security. and
I was
possibly open
researching
it
that,
up.
but I didn't go all the way through with it.
I can tell you a bit
what's-
about it.
Yeah. What are your experiences with like modular on a plane? Like, what do you say to the TSA guy when he's like, "What is this thing?" Like,
I've been paying close attention to this, and typically they don't bat an eye. Like anyone that travels with it, like I think it's pretty rare that they even ask about it. If they do ask about it, you can just say what it is. You're like,
They have to
it's a musical
synthesize it.
instrument, and then they're gonna go okay and like leave you alone. Like
I have heard
Yeah.
it might not be a good idea to fly with it patched.
I'm not flying with a patch. That's one thing.
Right.
It looked a little bit too suspect if I did
Yeah.
that. So
The rule is if it looks like a movie bomb, probably don't bring it. Like,
Yeah.
It's got like the big red. I've got my big like red LCD that's like ticking.
yeah, like some kid
No,
got
it's for
like
BPM. It's for
harassed for
BPM.
having a DIY clock, and like there's all sorts of those stories. So anything that looks like a movie bomb, check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think unpatched is also good because there's probably fewer questions if there's like random wires sticking out of things.
Yeah.
That's also true. Yeah.
And it does look like
I'm
a
glad
pretty
the
boring
is-
synthesizer. Like when you unpatch them, they look pretty like boring.
It's
Like the back
unpatched
half.
and not
Yeah.
on. It doesn't look like a threat too much. I don't.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That's true. All right.
Also, I don't know
noted.
many folks who've traveled with Cosmo modules. Like most modular stuff has a pretty like tame aesthetic. So like they're using some sans serif typeface or whatever. Not a lot of people are using like the murder and
Yeah.
Like
TV shows like
Sharpie.
Chicken Scratch, right? Like
Make noise
like
though.
ransom note letters.
Yeah, make
in the
noise.
newspaper.
But Make Noise does it where it's somehow like kind of pretty. I don't. Anyway.
It's very consistent. It doesn't look like
Yeah.
a madman built this.
Yeah. So I think traveling with it's fine. And honestly, I wouldn't check it if I had a choice.
I probably.
I will never be traveling with any of my modulars. So on a plane.
Yeah.
I also read that at least in Canada, you can be like, "Hi, I have a really unwieldy musical instrument I would like to carry on," and they will let you board earlier than the other people.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
The thing is, mine
Yeah.
is literally the size on the outside. It looks like a normal suitcase because
Yeah.
it basically is. And so I don't know if I could get away with that.
I would, this is a situation where if you can spring the extra 60 to $100 or whatever it is for like a slightly upgraded seat where you get to board earlier, that might be
Yeah.
worth it. But you are going on a longer flight, so it probably doesn't matter. There's probably plenty of overhead.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. Honestly, I've never been that fussed about like boarding super early, just because it's like you just spend more time on the plane when it's not flying.
It's true.
Which-
No. Here's
least-
here's the reason. Because I've done a bunch of traveling. Is a lot of people just carry on now because of prices.
Yeah. So
So
every
the
time you
carry
get
on
on
will
a
fill
plane-
up. Yeah.
Every
That's
time
true
I've
as
gotten
well.
on a plane the last few years, they're like begging people to check things, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Please, please, you can just give us your thing, and
We'll check it for free. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like,
that
Oh,
happens.
I
if
would
you're
like
the
to get
last-
on earlier because I'm not checking this.
Right, like if you're the last in line and they're full and you got your instrument, odds are they're trying to get things moving. You're shit out of luck. It's going to be checked.
Yeah.
I'll double check
So-
my boarding groups. I think I'll be okay. Hopefully, we'll see.
Just be like
Um,
kind of aggressive about getting in line and you should be fine.
I'm the kind of psycho that like shows up at the airport like 3 hours earlier than I need to be, and like
Yeah, I mean,
All that
yeah.
I don't know.
No. Yeah, I don't know if I would want any of these things checked. Like,
I only
yeah.
my baggage
I
has
only
been
had
mishandled
to
enough
one.
times. Yeah.
I got lucky with my big case though. I think it did permanently fuck up the power on it. I think that maybe was the origin of its whole power nonsense. Was it going through the flight stuff? Because it wasn't really acting up before that.
If it can
And-
get thrown around, it will get thrown around.
Yeah. I'm trying to sort of move towards like everything, all my cases being like flight ready,
Yeah.
just because I do want to take them everywhere.
Although the
Take them
IntelliGel
places.
7U is like 2 centimeters longer than the WestJet limit, which is very annoying.
Oh,
That's
no.
awful.
I am hoping
I-
that they will let me on next time anyway.
I mean, if it's just like barely over it, they're probably
yeah.
fine.
And a lot
I
of
mean,
people
you see
have
how
huge carry-ons.
people get really big with
Huge.
them.
They're like jamming the.
Huge.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough talk
Anyway.
about airplanes. What else? Is there anything else we want to talk about? Let's see. One of the bullet points is just.
That comes after the. It says after the working on a live set bullet point.
Working
Well,
on a live set.
I just
I have
did
a
like
live
an
set.
hour set the other day. That was pretty fun.
That was great.
That was a good one. Yes.
We could talk about how people build a live set because I'm trying to do one.
Ooh.
I want to know from you first, because from both of you, from all of both of you.
How to build a live set.
Yeah, tell us about your live set, Isaac.
Okay, well, the one I did, the in-person like meat space live set, was super ambient, and basically my goal was I tried to cram as many possible voices as I could into my little box, and then made it so I could slowly phase between them. So basically, it's like never playing all your cards at once, you know?
Yeah.
You've got one or two things that you slowly step through, but maybe you'll kill one thing and then add in a new thing. And then you have enough variety where you can kind of keep it interesting the whole time. That's the whole thing, is like interesting, I would say. Keeping everything like active and like with a lot going on, but also not repeating that too many times. That was also though for like super like fall asleep at your desk ambient stuff, as opposed to maybe something more hyperactive. Like I have a techno set in September that I need to figure out I need to plan that, and like I'll have like 1 week to practice and plan that. So that'll be different, because like dance music, you kind of have to focus a little more when you're like making it.
I would say like it's harder to keep interest with dance music. It's very little to do with dance music as much as the tempo. The faster your tempo, the faster things repeat. Right.
Yeah. Right. You're going to exhaust everything you have quicker. Yeah. So I would say like keeping as many interesting things happening at once as possible. And also having a way that you can perform stuff. Like you can interact with your sequence. Maybe like what I was doing, I did a lot of was I had Renee going, but Renee's really nice because you can interrupt Renee and play it out by hand. And so at some point I literally just unpatched the clock from Renee and like played it like a little keyboard. And so something like that where you can switch into a more performance-y mode is nice as well. Or if you have a actual keyboard, like if you're using the grandmother or whatever, you just like swap over that, not sequencing stuff, is nice because you can be a little more expressive if it's not just beep, boop, 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 you know?
True.
I think the two like important things that I think about on live sets is one, the intro and then the outro. And everything in the middle is fun, but like people only remember the intro and the outro. Like they might vaguely remember middle stuff, but like that, if you want to hook them, like I either start with something like if my audience is not modular people, something that's like going to catch their attention. So Megadrone's really good at that because like who doesn't love the THX sound, right? Like, or like a good sub. Like if you're going to do a techno thing, hitting with a sub, or like building up some anticipation with like an over filtered drums or something. Like you can spend a lot of time on an intro. That sounds really cool. But getting to your point about sort of interrupting things or like being a little destructive, I think that's really good to do towards like the second half of the performance. Like I usually have things fairly planned, and as I go, things get a little more chaotic. Like I'm starting to crank the filter on the bass and like doing some like audio rate like filter stuff and like things like that just like make it hard for me to undo. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the performance, that's it. It's over,
like
right?
You're done.
Like,
Yeah,
so
it's
so it's like easy to get destructive as you go. And then I, like you said, like even whether it's techno or not, I'm doing a lot of the things you talked about in terms of like pulling in groups of things and like muting things and like that kind of stuff just to keep it fresh.
Yeah, but it's definitely about like the kind of chaos crescendo where like stuff gets weirder and crazier as you go on.
Yeah.
New band name.
What? Chaos Crescendo?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's a good band name. I'm working on like the hardest thing for me is figuring out how to arrange the bits that I made. Like that's getting a bit easier now that I have a mixer with sliders, but like it's still like that's the longest. I make the patch. The patch I usually can make in a couple hours, and then I spend like days agonizing over how I'm going to arrange the patch. Because I would rather just rip it out and make another patch.
Yeah, so I think
I do that.
advice was given to me in art school, which I'm sorry that I'm repeating it, but it's kind of good advice. One of my art teachers, she's amazing, and she talked about like you might have drawn like the most perfect drape pile on the ground, like next to a window in your drawing. It's like super hyper realistic, and you've clearly spent the most time on these drapes. But if the rest of the picture doesn't like fit right,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a good overall composition. So, and another way people say this is like kill your babies or whatever, but I think that's a little bit harsh. Please don't kill babies. But like that's what I do sometimes. Like I'll get really stuck and I can't figure out how to transition between two things, and I'm like, what if I just like tried a different thing than like B? Like now I make a C and see what that feels like, and that works better. So that's kind of how I get around that sometimes. But sometimes I just get stuck for like days.
Yeah,
and
my
the other
advice
thing
for
I
that.
have is like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, my advice for that is terrible. I was gonna say because I just kind of improvisationally do that. Where it's like I feel it out a lot, which is probably not a great way to do it if you want to have like a predictable set.
I think there's a lot of room for improvisation. It sort of depends on your level of skill with improvisation, which mine is not great outside of like percussion stuff, and B, it depends on the audience. So like if it's a modular show, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, have you ever seen a Richard Devine performance? Like, it's not that often where you're like bobbing your head. It's like really cool to listen to, but like you can do whatever you want. You can improvise. You can have fun with sound. Like you can just have fun with sound.
Yeah.
But like if I'm playing for like people who expect like normal dance music or something, that's where it's really, I think, quite challenging.
This is a weird show at an art gallery, so that will be fun.
You can do whatever you want.
Get avant-garde with it, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
like if you get bored,
I
throw some like delay in there or something, like.
Playing with delay time is fun. Is really
Yeah.
fun for like a performance element.
Yeah.
Is like that's something I like to do is like a kind of delay breakdown near the end of things where if I have something going through a delay where you just change the time and like make things go all wacky. Like you make the time really, really long and then just stuff gets out of control, or you make it really short and plucky and stuff.
Well, I don't know if you've experienced this with your PT 2339 delays, Forrestine, but there's like a really sweet spot where there's just enough resonance on the voice going into it that it gets into this self-resonating, like almost infinite, like it almost blows up. That's like the sweet spot I find where you can like, if you crank it all the way to the fastest repeats, you get like metallic. If you go to the slowest, it just like really saturates things. I don't know. There's like a really
yeah,
nice
I
sweet
need to
spot
put one
in
of those
there.
back in. But I always put it passing.
I mean, I think when that comes out in like Eurorack format, I would like help fund that for you because I think you'd enjoy it. Like,
Oh yeah, so what I did was I listened to the other two people that are playing, and they're both like electroacoustic, very a lot of field recording, quiet stuff. So I think I'm going to be the loudest person there. Like, absolutely will be.
you
That's
know
good
what's
to
kind of
stand
cool
out,
though? You know, like if you look at a bright light and then close your eyes, there's like an image of a bright light on the back of your eyelids, like inverted.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe the effect of where you like slowly build sound over time. Like you might start off really mellow and then like build up to like massive Forrestine wall of, whatever, right? If you hard cut that at the end, like you have that like,
Ooh, yeah.
it has like an after image. Like it's such a strange thing. I
I
don't
am
know.
playing with like sending gates into a filter to cut things weird, so I could do more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's something.
I'll say it at the live show I did. It was a really weird. It was a weird selection because it started out like was Andrew Osler, who like Expert Sleepers guy, who is like his bass clarinet, and he's doing all sorts of weird delay nonsense things, but kind of like a Tangerine Dream, like Vangelis sounding thing. And then it goes to me, which is like sleepy rain noises. And then the guy afterwards was straight like hip hop, like it was like modular like hip hop.
like
And
lo-fi hip hop, like
he had an
really.
SP404 and an OP1, and like he was doing it sounded great. It was like completely different energy for all of them, but I kind of love seeing that out of a show where it's just like
Yeah.
total variety, like weirdness.
So
That's
I'm just like thinking everybody is
yeah.
going to be sitting politely, so I would like to start slow.
Mm.
There's polite people like this, so but I think it will be very loud.
Yeah, you can either start slow, which I think in this context is the right move, or you can like blow them away with the loud, like wake up,
Yeah.
knife edge switch.
There's a Justice song that sometimes scares me. I think it's like Genesis or something. It's like the first
Yes!
song on their album, and it comes up, and it
Yeah.
scares me. It scares the shit out of me because it's like the first song alphabetically on my phone's music. So sometimes I'll press play and it'll just randomly like, and I'll be like, holy shit! Like,
I take a lot of inspiration from some of their albums. Like one of their
love
like I think it's a
Justice, man.
remix album of their own stuff. The Women
Yes.
Worldwide one.
Women
is
Worldwide. Yeah,
just
yeah.
beautiful.
Justice is fantastic, man.
But yeah, Genesis has has a way with scaring the crap out of you with
I
that
mean, half
particular
that album
song.
because that album's really weird because it's like halfways it's like kind of more pop sounding like dance music like DANCE, which is like a pop song,
Yeah.
like a really good pop
Yeah.
song. But then you have things like Waters of Nazareth that are completely like really difficult to listen to, like electro almost. Where you're
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to critique their album
Yeah.
too much. I just think there's like some cool like I think you're on the right track, Orstein. That'll
Could
be a
someone
cool
post
one.
that on Discord, please?
Yes, I will post
Yeah,
the
I'll-
entire. You
yeah.
should just listen to
Yeah.
Cross all the way through.
It's a good album and like songs play into each other and I think
Yes.
Love what is it? Love SOS or something. That song from that track has like
Yeah.
just an awesome song, awesome music video. It's really cool.
Yes. Love SOS on a later album, but
Yeah.
Cross is one of in my opinion,
Cross.
it's,
Yeah.
in my opinion it's one of the greatest electronic albums of all time. Electronic music.
Yeah.
Pieces of it. But I just really like French House. So it's like French House.
Yeah, French
French touch.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. I don't know. I mean, it's modular too. Like one of the things that I really want to do, like I really am hoping I get to play somewhere this year. Like I want people playing with me and not necessarily other musicians that are in on
Yeah.
like what I'm doing. I want to be like, here's a laser theremin, have fun. Like while I'm doing like means like that kind of stuff. Like see that filter? It's yours. Like
Yeah.
that
What
kind of thing.
I really want to experiment with is one of my roommates next year is a drummer, and he has an electric drum kit he's going to be bringing. And I just want to see what happens if I just like handle all the melodic stuff, and he just does live drumming to the modular. Like I really want to hear what that sounds like because that shit would be really cool.
Yeah,
I feel
if
like
I
you
ever
can
get
see
to
it.
play with my buddy who lives in near Philly, like he plays the drums, I would just give away all of my drum modules to have a real drummer right here killing it because like that's a hard to beat sound.
It really is, especially if it's like kind of like something like funkier, like more like break beat kind
Yeah.
of things, where it's just like
Yeah, and
great.
like people who are passionate about drums can do really cool things with drums that like I'm never gonna think about. Like I'm just like boons, boons, boons. Come on, like I don't make you. Oh, want to get weird? Turn up the data bender and let that do some fills. You know, that's very
Phil's. Never heard of him. I don't have any way of making fills that are good. One complaint about the KeyStep Pro. KeyStep Pro has a looper on it, which will loop like every quarter of a bar or like whatever. It'll loop like
Yeah,
half the bar, quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the looper is always global, no matter what. So you can't just use it on the drums. And sometimes I want to just use it on the drums for drum fills. But I'll do like the drum fills, and it will also do a bass fill and a lead fill and a chord fill, which is not.
It doesn't have
always
like
most
the
helpful.
like the Beat Step Pro has that in an alternate mode where you can do like if you're holding down a button and then use the touch strip, it will just do repeats on that. No.
Not that I know of, but I should probably try that because I sometimes discover features that the KeyStep Pro can do that are like not clearly listed in its manual. Its manual's kind of bad.
Yeah, you just kind of have
so-
to do some like firmware, like software diving in there through their
Yeah,
whatever.
my friend Kieran has my
manager or
KeyStep
whatever.
right now, so maybe he'll figure it out.
On that note, I haven't touched a KeyStep in a while, which is kind of nice.
Oh yeah, you're just on Haypax like.
Yeah, I decided to go all in and just try it out because the Pyramid, like, it's one octave, which is not, in my opinion, at all playable. If you ever see a sequencer with just one octave, not playable.
It's
Two
hard.
octaves, that's where it starts because then you can start doing things like I'm not gonna do it right now, but like you can do like octave,
Yeah.
you know, like all that stuff. But this has the ability to sort of customize that. I'm getting used to the grid too, so it's really kind of a fun way to get out of my wheelhouse a little bit in terms of learning some stuff. So, yep, went all in there. I kind of want to do like a Haypax, like not like a review, but like here's what I'm doing with it, like some of the some of the processes that I'm doing, like how I organize sequences, like that kind of stuff, like working
How I
within its
hate that.
limitations. And then I want like Squarp to take a look and be like, cool, let's fix that.
What the Haypax we can call it.
Yeah, but I think that'll be just like I'll record that or stream it or something. And then anyway, we've been going for quite some time. I want to go on a
Yes.
hike this afternoon because I spent all yesterday in a solder zone. In the solder zone. Next on TLC, the solder zone.
The solder zone.
Yeah, I want to go on a hike. So, does anybody have any really last minute things they want to talk about really fast?
I'm gonna maybe buy a soldering iron next year, a really small one, and use it in my apartment, even if I'm not allowed to.
Ha
Yeah, I did
Because
that.
they're really
That's
tiny.
fine. Just
And,
keep,
yeah. Those little OLED ones where it like plugs into like a power bank. And
Oh,
Yeah, I'm one-
review of the big
I'll-
battery
yeah.
soldering iron. Do not buy. Doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
I
to
have.
know.
I mean, there's a specific one I'll recommend you that works pretty good.
There's one called the Pine Sol I've been looking at, which looks nice. And it's like
I haven't seen that one.
$35 or something. So
Ooh, I don't. Yeah.
I've heard good
recommend.
things. I've heard good things.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And it uses nice tips. Anyways. Yeah.
Should I play us out?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Sure.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Data, Benjamin, Enthusiastic Electrons. I think Robbie's already
Yes.
left because Robbie got bored. We weren't talking about filters enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
Butane soldering iron. Dad mentioned, yes.
Let's just start right here.
Yeah, dorm room butane. I don't see the problem with that.
Hey, can we talk about how good the Icary is at everything?
Yeah.
Like
I'll buy
Castor and
one.
Pollux and Icary and nothing else.
That sounds great. What's doing the vocals?
Those are samples of Furbies. Door stopper. reminds me, I want to talk about ring mods. I don't know what they do. I put
Yeah, we can talk about
two
that.
sources
That was
into a
nice.
ring mod, and then I put two sources into a mixer, and then I compared them, and it sounded the same to me. Anyway, next week on What the Heck, we'll talk about
Next
ring
week on
mods.
What the Heck?
They go, Earth sound.
Secret VCA. It's a VCA.